We have a month until the first 2024 Republican presidential debate, and some polls indicate that climate change really is a big issue for voters across the board. There's a new Yahoo News YouGov poll that found a growing number of 34% of Americans say that climate change has made things worse in their lives and will continue to impact their future. The Yale program on climate change communication found that about 74% of those polled think that global warming is happening right now. And this comes, as scientists say, I'm sure you know as well, July has been the hottest month globally on record, and a number of U.S. cities and states like Texas and Arizona are breaking their own records for most consecutive days above 100 degrees. And I want to bring in now Galen Druke. He is the host of the 538 Politics podcast. Galen, thank you so much for joining us. And climate change has long been a focus of the left, but are you now seeing it more important for Republicans as well?
It's a good question, and it's a complicated one. So the majority of Americans acknowledge that climate change is happening. As you mentioned, 3/4, and about 2/3 say that it's human caused. But when you look at Republicans in particular, it's more like 1/3 of Republicans acknowledge that climate change is happening as a result of carbon emissions from humans. And so we see that it's not a majority of Republicans, but that hasn't changed the fact that there has been some movement amongst Republican politicians. So in 2021, we saw the first ever conservative climate caucus in Congress created, trying to use conservative principles to solve climate change, which this caucus acknowledges as human caused. About 1/3 of Republicans in Congress at the time backed that effort. So while we're not seeing a ton of movement amongst voters, we are seeing some movement amongst Republican lawmakers.
Well, what about these 7 Republicans that are set to take the debate stage in a few weeks? Are they going to be talking about climate change on the campaign trail?
It's an important question because this is one of the issues where leadership really matters, right? It's not something that outside of these heat waves, people feel really personally in their own lives, like the economy or jobs they might feel. And it's oftentimes something that we refer to scientists to try to explain. And so whether or not leaders are saying, yes, climate change is happening and it's caused by humans will affect public opinion, the public opinion we just talked about. So here's what we know. Trump so far does not believe that climate change is real or human caused. He's said in the past that it's a hoax perpetrated by China. He, of course, removed the United States from the Paris climate deal. But the other Republicans running for president this cycle, in large part, have acknowledged that it's real and human caused, but just disagree overwhelmingly with Democrats on what should be done about it. And so what they're talking about for the most part is carbon capture. And scientists say, yes, this can be an important part of the solution. Some of the ideas that we've heard from Republicans are, for example, planting 1 trillion trees globally, which scientists also support, but may not be the full answer to the challenge of climate change.
Right, it's a complicated answer. Well, how are voters in general thinking about climate change amid this record-breaking heat they're experiencing?
Yeah, pollsters have been asking Americans, are you experiencing a difference in the climate, in the atmosphere around you this summer? And the majority of Americans have said yes. And not only that they're experiencing a change in their own communities and environments, but they attribute this heat wave to climate change and even some of the other extreme weather we've seen, like flash flooding, to climate change as well. That's a majority of Americans saying they see that connection between the broad issue of climate change and their own personal lives. And a majority, 60+%, have said that as a result, they're spending less time outdoors. They're spending more money on energy and air conditioning. And so, yeah, it seems like at least a majority, not, 3/4 or more, but a majority of Americans are saying that what we're seeing, this weather, this hot July, is impacting their lives.
All right, Galen, thank you for your analysis. We appreciate it.
Hi, everyone. George Stephanopoulos here. Thanks for checking out the ABC News YouTube channel. If you'd like to get more videos, show highlights, and watch live event coverage, click on the right over here to subscribe to our channel. And don't forget to download the ABC News app for breaking news alerts. Thanks for watching.